4, 3, 2, 1.
Whether you've been married 1 or 20 plus years, at some point you realize you married into crazy. And that's what our show is all about. If your marriage or relationship is compassionate, real, accountable, zealous and yielding, or just plain crazy, Snooks and Lovey offer love, laughter, and a dose of reality as they unpack this thing called marriage. Sit back, relax, and get your ear hustle on. It's time to start the conversation.
That we had the unique opportunity of being separated for long periods of time, because yes, I could go visit him after I got married, have the conjugal visits and the other things, but he was so far. He was in Crescent City. So he was at
Pelican Bay.
He was in Pelican Bay at the ranch, at Level 1 Ranch. So it was very far away. I lived in Modesto at the time, so it was like a 8-10 hour trip. So I couldn't get time off of work to go see him that much. And so most of our relationship for those first 2 years was writing it on the phone, like Lando said. But that allowed us an opportunity to build our friendship.
Right.
So friendship, the importance of friendship is something that we talk about all the time to other couples, because that's where we built that foundation. So even though it was hard and it was a lot of tears and a lot of money, so we could keep our communication up, because they didn't have cell phones in there like they do now. We had to pay the phone bill.
No, it's way different.
It was horrible.
Like, I have cousins that are in there, and they be calling on their pads, and I was like,
we didn't have none of that.
They give them free time to talk to their family. We had to pay for every dime. It was not.
I had to move out of my apartment and move in with my mom to pay down my phone bill. It was bad. Anyway,
it was a lot.
That gave us the foundation of really getting to know each other without it being a completely sexualized relationship. And so even though it was hard at the time, we are both grateful that we had that time, because that's when we were talking about everything, talking about all kinds of stuff. So it's like that was off the table most of the time. So then it was time for us to really get into our hopes, our dreams, building our future. We have all of our letters. We saved them. I have a container in our shed, and
I just have to add, sex was not off the table in those letters.
Okay. Basically having, oh Lord. Anyway,
you got to do what you got to do.
That's not what I meant. I was together, physically together.
You might want to take some of them letters and submit them to Penthouse or whatever. Get paid a little.
It.
We were reading through some of the letters. We had to put them like, oh shit, our kids can't see this.
Put them up. They don't want to read that anyway. But
anyway.
But yeah, I think that gave us a good foundation for understanding and benefiting from being friends. So that way, when he came home, we just picked that up and took it to another level.
We went to church. Right. We found a church, got married the following year in church, 4 days apart from the day that we got married in prison. So we actually have 2 days. But we had to finally just pick one, because we were flip-flopping. Whatever one fell closer to the weekend, that's the one we used for that year. And so we don't do that no more. We just, what is this? It's the 12th. Yeah. So we originally got married on the 16th of December. So anyway, we picked the 12th because that's when we really got married. So that is how our foundation was built. And now I can look back and say that it was built on solid ground.
It saved us. That foundation saved us. As crazy as it was, it saved us.
Yeah. That's interesting. I'm a firm believer that God does his best work in the midst of our adversities.
Right.
Yeah.
Most
and
definitely.
We share that all the time. And I love hearing your story, your origin, and I hope all of you that are listening are really taking note and really letting this really sink into your spirit, because I can't think of a single perfect marriage that's in the Bible. Not a one.
Not one.
And here we are. We think that, it's got to be perfect. And if it's if it's meant to be, then it shouldn't be this hard. And you hear that all the time. And it's like, no, it's you got to take your lumps along with it. And sometimes it's meant to be extremely hard because there's a seasoning that needs to take place.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, definitely.
And I hear that in you. It's funny. Snooks and I looked at each other. You said that your original wedding date was December 16th. And that's when we actually met.
That was the day we met on December 16th, 1995. And that is actually my mother's, her anniversary was December 16th, 1994.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah. So December 16th, go December.
Both of you have said something about adversity and commented on both sides of it. And I believe just from my own personal experience, because adversity can make you or break you. And it does break a lot of people down and they can't come back from it. I have a fighting spirit. I always have. And I don't give up. And so the adversity has built me and us to have the relation and her, the relationship that we have and the kind of people that we are. And that's how we move now in all areas of our life, because Satan has, he's always gotten in the way. He still gets in the way. And God has, to this point, he's prevailed. So,
Yes. So now go ahead, Carrie. What were we going to say?
I was just going to add to answer. I know I'm looking at the time. I'll make this quick. We have encountered many challenges in our relationship. I mean, it definitely was not all roses after he came home, and we had our children.
Because I still continue to use off and on.
Yeah.
When I came home and started hustling, not with the other stuff, but just like on a smaller scale and just a little. So her wanting something different. So I was selling meth at the time, and she seen me weighing it up and this and that, and so she wanted to learn how to do it. And it's funny now, but she was like, she's a G, man. And so there was times with her and my brother when he was alive.
We'll just say you handled product management. Your brother and I handled product distribution.
Look, we talk about, there's a phrase out there that the kids use. It's been around since we were all young. But when you say, this is a ride or die couple.
No,
Right.
it's real. So she was pregnant. She faked a contraction when they was copping dope for me one time.
Got more money.
Lord, today.
So what was the turning point? 'Cause look, when you talk about, we're on the subject of adversity, right? And I love that you brought that up because you said it'll either make you or break you. And if there's like a tagline for Married into Crazy, we always talk about, it's even on our website, where we talk about where we help couples build bridges from adversity to lasting and loving marriages. And there's a bridge, right? So if you were thinking about it, if there were two cliffs and there was a chasm in the middle, adversity could be on one side, but in building that bridge, not everybody's able to cross it. And I'm curious, what do you think? Two things is, what would be your advice to help couples strengthen themselves to really deal with the adversity rather as opposed to running away from it, barring abuse? And what was it about? At what point do you think your relationship turned from willing to be that ride or die on that side of it, as far as, look, if that's what you're going to do, then teach me how to actually work the scale. I'll get out there, distribute, to we're going to ride or die for Christ.
Just to change. We can't do this anymore.
I'll start now. Leave room for you. Almost 4 years ago, we were at one of those tipping points where
it was it.
It was it. The things that we were dealing with, it was. And I am the one that said it. I was like, I can't deal with this anymore. I can't.
And it
And
wasn't drugs, it was alcohol because I've never stopped drinking. The drugs has been almost 15 years.
yeah, and there were things that were going on, depression and different things that had led to the point of where that got at. But I want to stay there. But the point is, at that there, he went in and got some help. Um, I really had my mind set on, yeah, you go get some help, and I'm done. I can't do this no more. And he and I both had to surrender, and I can't stress surrender enough because and the way I personally, in that prayer, I remember, and I've had this prayer many times, but I was just yelling at God. I'm like, I need you to release me from this now because I can't. If you don't want to release me, then I need you to change this because I can't do it. And he did change it. He
And he
did.
didn't release her.
He didn't release me, thank God. But he changed it. And but it was him surrendering on his end and me surrendering on my end. And I like to stress that to people because it's God has spoken to me so many times of I'm going to fix what's going on with him, but if you don't fix what's going on with you, you are going to mess up what I'm doing. It's on both sides.
Right. Yeah.
That
That's a
has
good
to
one,
be
huh?
understood because if you
That's
don't
right.
understand that it's on both sides, it's still not going to work when the main problem is removed
That's right. That's
because
right.
you still messing it up, whatever
That's right.
side that happens to fall on. And it's never just about this main thing. That might
That's
be the
right.
main problem, but both
Right.
people still have other problems,
That's
right?
right.
So,
That's right.
And will
and
continue
will
to have them.
continue. So
Right.
at that point, when he came home, and we had talked a little bit before that, and that was our tipping point to where we're like, you know what? We've served in ministry together. We were deacons in training together, and ran ministries and everything. It's not like we weren't serving the Lord. It's not like church was never not a part of our life. It always was.
Right.
But at that point, I think that's when he and I were really like, okay, we're going to do this, then everything has to change. And that's kind of when we knew on our own we had to be more intentional, which kind of led to us going to the marriage class at church, um, Sheila and Cloyce. And then it was just on and cracking from there. Complete change.
So the answer to your question is surrender. Like, I mean, like for real, get on your knees, get straight with God, surrender, and we as humans, we tend to surrender and then take it back, and surrender and then take it back, and you have to stay there. And there'll be still times you take it back, but it'll be less and less over time, and it'll be more aware, like immediately aware, and know that you have to take action when uh, when you're not surrendering to Him and you're trying to take over.
That's right.
And asking God, both of us have prayed, Lord, help me to love your child the way you do, because right now I don't.
Yeah.
No, that's a big one.
That's a huge one. And
Yeah.
that is something that shifted over time.
Because she had to start that with me. Because of course it was like, okay, I'm good now, I'm clean, and my mind's straight, and all that stuff. It happened for years, for a good 10 years of our marriage. Like I said, I was going in and out. I wasn't on the streets doing all that stuff anymore, but I still was having relapses, like every few months or so, and so it wasn't like all the way stopped. And yeah, yeah, just complete and total surrender is what I had to do, and then I had to get to a point in there too because she said she was done when I was in there. I did a 30-day program, detox and all that kind of stuff. Almost died, literally almost died the same night that I went in there because I was detoxing and I almost had a heart attack. So that was another thing. Just like, okay, God, I ain't ready to die. And so I had to come to a point where, you know what, I love her and no, I don't want to lose her. But if that's what happens, then that's just what it is. But I still need to be in the place where you need me to be. So I
Right.
even losing the love, the absolute love of my life, um, was at the time like it was about to happen. I still surrendered to him and stayed surrendered to him. And then over time, she saw that, and then that's when she came to her conclusion about, okay, well, I need to work on me too.
Right.
So
Yeah.
we both always there's not just always one side. Even if one person is like doing the original wrong or whatever that is, and um, there's the other person still has a response to that, and it is not always the way God wants you to respond. So then, how
That's
does that
right.
ever?
Yep.
It doesn't.
I think of remember the parable of the prodigal son. And when the prodigal son came back, the brother that had never left did not receive that person properly. And so
Yep.
now the issue became about the way the other person, the brother, was not, how he was dealing his feelings and how he messed up
Yeah.
a happy situation because he was holding on to his feelings of
Making it about
resentment.
him. Yeah.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
And so again, I always tell people, whatever is going on in your marriage, you have to ask and consort with God about how to handle it. Don't say, oh, Carrie and Lando did this, so that's what we're supposed to do. Carrie and Lando just did what God told them to do. You have to pray and ask God what you're supposed to do in your situation for yourself, right? You don't just do what we do because we're
That
nobody.
ain't gonna
We
work
are
for you. That ain't
nobody.
gonna work for you anyway.
Nobody. We're just trying to figure it out like everybody else.
Most people can't
But
have what you went through.
yeah, but that was God's message to me. Was that you're gonna mess it up? So
Yeah.
okay, but
That's
anyway,
good.
uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
The-
I'm very grateful. I'm very proud of him. I think the work that God has done in his life has been amazing. He's 14 years clean from drugs. He's going on
Man.
14
Amen.
Wait.
alcohol. Just his even the challenges in getting your contractor's license and everything, just so many things that our society is not
Mm.
created in or constructed in such a way to help people move past their problems.
That's
If
right.
you do something wrong, we're going to stick you're in a box now,
You pay
and
for it for the rest of your life, basically.
you never stop
Literally,
paying. You
I
never stop
still
paying.
2 years
But
ago when I went to go read. Well, actually, I went to change my entity from LLC to a corporation, and I had to go through the process all again after I've had my license since 2007, and I was in fear of not getting my license again because they were asking that question. It never, ever, ever goes away,
Yeah.
ever.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's more money to be made with folks in the system than out.
Of course.
There's a
Yep.
reason why recidivism rates are what they are. There's reasons behind that, and I'm not trying to get off on a social soapbox, but it's real. We've lived it.
It's real.
Mm-hmm.
We've lived him going into jobs and wanting them. They wanted to hire him before the probation period is over and running his background, and then walking him out of a building, or not even letting him enter a building when the day before they wanted to hire him, and
Yeah.
saw the quality of his work. We've been through all that. That's why he's self-employed now.
Had to
So
couldn't keep a job, no matter how hard I tried.
yeah, but I would just say for us, I feel this is again not about us at all, but it's just God does some amazing things if you give him the space to do it. That's what this is about. So our work is very much grounded in our ministry work that we're going to be doing, that we're doing now, and then in the future is very much around supporting individuals that were formerly incarcerated and lifting them up and helping them. That's the ministry that God gave us. That's where our heart is,
Mm-hmm.
because we want to help support those individuals, because there are many people, like I said, that want to move forward. Either they don't know how, or they don't have the support and the means to do so.
Right. Yeah.
And those
That's
are the
huge.
ones, the marginalized and the downcast. The scripture where Jesus is talking about, I was hungry, you didn't feed me. I was unclothed. I was, those that are off here in the margins that maybe other folks don't want to touch. God is there.
Mm-hmm. So
He's there.
where can people that are experiencing these types of challenges for that support that you know how to give, because you've been through that, where would they be able to reach y'all?
You want to give? Well, I can give
Like,
my
you got an
email.
email? I'm sorry?
Yeah. Do we want to make my email available?
It's up to you.
Yeah, it's up to you.
If you have
Yeah.
a ministry,
Yeah.
Okay.
That's one of the reasons why we do what we do, is because we know that there is a needed ministry, right? For married couples. Being married is, within itself, in perfect circumstances, it's tough. It's a lot of work. But anytime you throw in some different adversity, I mean, it's a make or break. It could be a make or break, especially if you don't have the support and a lot of people, or resources. A lot of people lack that, so they go through this thing by themselves, and they think that they're in it alone. So anything that you have that you can give, that you feel like you want to give, we'll also put it in show notes. Let the people know.
What I would like to do is create an email address for just specifically for that, so that it doesn't, honestly, so it doesn't like interfere like with my work
Got you.
email. Because I get so much garbage already as it is that it's hard to, and so I miss a lot of it. Somebody
We don't
might
want to
send
miss
something that
anything.
I can't, and I miss it, and it's important. So if we make something specific for that, the easy Gmail, um,
Yeah. We'll set
let us
something
CM
up.
know.
ministries at
Yeah,
gmail.com or
Yeah.
just something like that. And then so I'll have Carrie set that up and then get that to you like ASAP.
definitely.
I do
Definitely.
have some resources. We're still, I just want to say we're still in the beginning stages of kind of creating some of the things that we're going to be personally doing. So we're kind of in very infancy stages.
And I'm excited. I'm starting to become very excited about it. So as we talked about at the marriage ministry, how Dennis threw me in his sermon, and I didn't know that that was going to happen. We talked at breakfast briefly about some stuff, and then it turned into that. And that doesn't mean that we did talk about me going in, but I didn't know I was going to be a part of his sermon that day.
Right.
That there was a specific date already set up for us to go.
He's going to
But
go.
in the meantime, because God keeps on moving and doing what He does, I went to a men's conference a few weeks ago and had introductions for me to be able to go into Old Folsom, which that's where I really want to go, because that was the first place I went to prison was Old Folsom, and I want to walk in the front door. And
Got
so
you.
that's God gave me that long time ago when He gave me my contractor's license. So there's that. We're doing Angel Tree. We just finished getting signed up for that so that we can help provide gifts to people who are incarcerated. God's just putting all these things. I knew He was gonna wait. He was waiting for us. Now I know He was waiting for me to be in a place to do the things that He has for me to do. Everything is going to be
Right.
around that. I do have some other resources. The thing from Teresa,
Yeah.
I
We definitely have
included on
some
this email, and
resources
there's
for that.
all type of resources. Like I get emails at least daily for different types of services that they provide, housing, clothes, all kinds of stuff. So I'll share that with you also.
Okay.
Another resource.
And then I have the privilege of coordinating expungement clinics in Yolo County. So, in partnership with our local public defenders and district attorneys' offices. So, those are services that I'm able to do and can provide information on those. Yeah, we're still working on some of the. We're not quite ready to do a full prison and jail ministry yet, but that's in our
my
more sooner than later future.
My pastor's
Amen.
Hey,
Amen.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
Then they'll start placing. Oh, you want to go do this? You want to do that? So yeah,
But that's
I'll
our
tell you,
heart.
when God, I think God places a calling in many of our lives. The challenge is we don't always listen. It's like He's calling, and we're like forwarding that call.
Yeah.
Like, no, that's not for me, God. That's for somebody else. That's for somebody else. And
right now.
but what I think is amazing, and so just for context, for the listeners, we went to a marriage conference back in April, and it was up in Lake Tahoe. And there was our keynote speaker was Dennis Gaxiola. And Dennis is a world-renowned comedian. He's been on some of the biggest stages, but he has a heart for prison ministry. And so what Lando is referencing is that in the middle of his sermon and sharing with everybody, he was like, yeah, Lando and I are going into prison, and I'm taking him with me. And I started sharing the story, and Lando and Carrie looking around like, wait, hold on.
Whoa. That was breakfast talk. What are you talking about? Slow down.
It was funny, but it was on point. Everything about that felt right.
Yeah.
And it led me to pull you aside and be like, hey, hold on. There's a whole part of you I don't even know. And that's what led to this moment. And Dennis is actually going to be a guest on the podcast as well, to share what he's doing.
Yeah.
And I think it's good if you let God just use you in the manner in which he built you for. When he breathed life into every single one of us, and I'm not going to preach, but when he breathed life into us, it was a specific purpose for which he put us in this world. And I think many of us spend more time running from it than we do towards it.
Yeah.
And I thank both of you for running towards him and allowing us to share your story with our audience. And yet by the time this airs, we'll have all the things
information,
to put in the show notes.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just want to thank you, Lando. Oh, I just got to ask this question. This has been on my mind ever since I first met you. Lando, is Lando your full name, or did your parents name you after Lando Calrissian from Star Wars? Because I'm a Star Wars freak.
No, my middle name. So my government name is Joe Orlando Mathews. So my mom can't stand my dad. I didn't want to be like my dad, and I don't look like no Joe. So Orlando is my middle name, and my mom she's always called me Lando since I was a kid.
Lando.
Got it.
Well, Lando.
He does get his government name though when he's not listening to me.
Oh, you get the full name?
Hey.
Okay, look, you remember back in the day when you got that full name, you were in trouble.
Amen.
But we just thank you so much for just being here with us. And also, I just want to say, too, LCM Construction Services, they own their own company. It's construction services. He got a license. So if you ever need any work done, give him a holler. So tell us where you go for work. Like, what are the parameters? I mean, are you throughout all of California, Northern California? Where do you do your work?
Now it's in Sacramento because I don't have to go. There's so much work around here. I started in the Bay Area years and years ago. The last time I did a job in the Bay Area was probably 2 years ago. So I like to stay around here if I can, just because of traffic and time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to have to pass that cost on to my clients. But I mean, I'll go where I need to go.
Right.
But I like to stay around here, Sacramento, Valley, Stockton, those types of areas. So maybe as far as Stockton, South, and North.
Okay. So what's the website for LCM?
LCMconstructionservices.com.
Okay.
Go and take a look at the website, because I'm telling you, when you go to the gallery, and actually it's funny, I have the gallery up on my computer. There's something that caught my eye that I need to talk to my wife about.
Is it crown molding?
It's not crown molding. It's the we have a cubby where our TV is, but you have this. This built-in. Yeah. Oh yeah. And then we've been talking about it for years. So.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff that we want to do. So yeah.
So LCMconstructionservices.com.
Mm-hmm.
I would also throw out that he is the second business. He is a HUD consultant. And so for individuals that are doing 203K loans where they can kind of do some rehab in their home, whether it's a purchase or finance, and they can get some extra money on the back of their loan, specifically for construction. Yeah, thank you. I'm sorry.
So basically, it's a construction loan. It's a HUD funded construction loan.
Okay.
And so you can do a refi to get the work done, or if you're buying a property and it needs some work, there's minimum standards that the property has to meet. That's what I go out and inspect. And then on top of that, people can remodel their kitchens, their bathrooms, or whatever else that would give value to the property because of how it appraised after the work is done. And so I have information on that too. It's a good program.
Yeah. And for that business, he does travel, I would say, extensively for that. So he will do inspections in Nevada, in the Bay, all over for that.
Because my initial inspections pay pretty well. So whenever I tell her, well, I have to go to Nevada, she was like, where are we staying? Because she's going.
Right.
She knows it's one of our trips, and so it's good. And
I know that's right.
Out of it, and then it's our time too.
Yeah.
So
we enjoyed just cruising. So, but anyway, don't look him up so we can go on a trip. Because of,
Better you can.
So, because of his years of experience as a contractor, and he actually was a 203K contractor and does the inspection side. He's very knowledgeable about the whole process and has mortgage lenders that he works with that we can connect folks to if they're interested in that. So,
okay,
that's awesome.
That's awesome.
Okay,
yeah.
so and so the best point of contact would be through LCM Construction.
What's your website?
Yeah, right now.
I don't know. I don't use it enough.
Is it lcminspectionservices.com, I think?
If they want to investigate for like the HUD and...
I'm going to send you a link because I don't use the
So we'll
website
have that in
enough.
the show notes.
Yeah, I'll send a link for that too.
Okay.
Perfect. Well, hey, too, we're going to give you back your time. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. And we feel immensely blessed.
Mm-hmm.
And so until the next time, like we always say at the end of all of our podcasts, until the next time,
Be blessed.
bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the Married into Crazy podcast with Snooks and Lovey. Please like, subscribe to, and review the show wherever you access it, and tell a friend about us. Visit marriedintocrazy.com and see how Snooks and Lovey can bless your marriage directly.